Hey guys, RanterInShades here, Exercise My First to Memorize vlog style, here with my first and probably only unboxing video, depending on if I decide to do more stuff like this if I'm ever in a situation where I could. Today I got a package from, if you can see over here, it says Metal Sludge. If you don't know what Metal Sludge is, it is an 80s metal blog that started in the late 90s. It used to expose a lot of the jackassery that was a lot of people within the glam scene and all that. And these days it does a lot of, glam-related blog stuff. And the site is run by a guy named Stevie Rachelle. And if you don't know who he is, he was the singer of a glam metal band that came out around the early 90s called Tuff. And as you can see from the picture I have up here, yes, they do look just like Poison. And the guy that looks like Bret Michaels over there, that is Stevie Rachelle. Really interesting story as to how I got this package sent to me. About a week ago, I received a message on my fan page from Stevie Rachelle himself complimenting me on my Crybabies of Rock videos. More specifically, the last one I did, the one on Don Dawkin, as well as the one I did about a year ago on Bobby Blotzer. He was really impressed with what I had to say and how knowledgeable I was and all that, and he asked if he could share those videos on Metal Sludge and their social media, and I was like, yeah, that would be sweet, more publicity. I'm not gonna say no to that. Then he gave me a little precaution about haters, and talked about how he was told by Tracy Guns of LA Guns, if you're not getting any haters, you're not doing it right. And that was something I sort of knew going into this YouTube thing, so I'm like, yeah, good to know. I sort of knew that, but great that you are aware of that. So he shared that video on Metal Sludge, and thus that video got a good bit more views. And what I did next is I shared with him my top 15 glam metal bands you've never heard of video, basically just to show him me at my nerdiest about this, because one thing that he was really impressed with was how knowledgeable I apparently am about this kind of music, despite being, a guy in his 20s. So I shared with him that video because, if you thought I sounded nerdy in the Crybabies of Rock videos, you ain't seen nothing yet. So he then was impressed with that video, shared that on Metal Sludge and the all-related social media, and then that video got a good bit more views, and even got shared, according to someone who commented on the video, it even got shared by Joel Ellis, the singer of Heavy Bones, as well as Cats and Boots, one of the bands that I featured in the list. He shared the video on his Facebook, and I'm like, holy shit, that's freaking awesome, because I was really complimentary of Joel Ellis within that video, and I was like, dude. And by the way, hello to all the new subscribers who came because of that video. I will say, though, if you're expecting more glam-related content from me, you're not going to be getting a whole lot of it. It's not all I talk about here. I like talking about it at times, but there are other stuff that I like to talk about, so hopefully you find my other content interesting. And Rachelle, of course, knew a lot of the bands that I was talking about in the Glam Metal Bands You Never Heard Of video, which, I can't really say I'm surprised about, but it is cool. But one other thing, he was so impressed by this video, and, the other videos of mine that he saw, that he asked for my address so that he could send me a package, and thus we got this. One other thing that happened with my encounter with Stevie Rachelle is we then started talking about Firehouse, because I had mentioned in the Glam Metal Bands You Never Heard Of video that Firehouse was one of my favorite bands and my favorite coming from the scene at that time, and I then mentioned that I was actually going to see Firehouse live that weekend in Hampton, New Hampshire. So, again, I did not ask him to do this. I didn't ask him to send me this package, and I didn't ask him to do what I'm about to say that he did next. But he messages CJ Snare, the singer in Firehouse, about adding me to the VIP list for the meet and greet that is taking place at this particular show that I was going to. So CJ got me on the list, and thus I got to meet Firehouse. And I also got my little ticket stub here autographed by all 4 of the guys because I didn't really have much else that was interesting to bring, but it's still cool. I like getting autographs when I can. So thank you, Stevie, for helping me out with that, and thank you in advance for this package that I'm about to open now. Of course, I need to use scissors. Okay, so what we got here, ooh, the Jim Gillette solo album, Proud to Be Loud. If you don't know who Jim Gillette is, he's the singer of a band called Nitro that came out in the late 80s, and this band is very famous for featuring Michelangelo Batio, and really brought him to prominence. So before Nitro even formed, he recorded this album with Batio and the band's bassist, TJ Racer, and it's called Proud to Be Loud. I have this on my computer, but cool to have it now in physical. Next, we got an album from Wildside, a band I've mentioned in the Glam Metal Bands You Never Heard of video, as well as in other places. But this album called The Wasted Years, which I think is a compilation album. So yeah, Wildside is freaking cool, and cool that I now have this. And like I said before, their album Under the Influence, one of the great underrated classics. Definitely check that out if you haven't. Next, we got an album from a band called Shameless. I recognize the name. This album is called Beautiful Disaster. I'm not sure when this came out, but I think it's a band that Rachelle is associated with. I'll give this a listen, definitely, because I don't think I've ever listened to anything of theirs before. Got another album from Shameless over here called Queen for a Day. Pretty nice cover, I guess. Got some nice looking women on the back, too. Next, we got a compilation album from Tuff called The Glam Years, 1985 to 1989. This is before their album What Comes Around Goes Around came out in 1991. I'm going to link some songs from there in the description if you've never heard Tuff before, because there's definitely some good songs there. You remember how I said they looked a lot like Poison? Well, they sounded kind of like them too. They sound a lot like on their album Flesh and Blood, where their songwriting started to go in a more, positive, more well-thought and cleaned up direction compared to their first 2 albums. That's what Tuff sounds like. Next CD we got in here, Veins of Jenna. A band, another name I kind of recognize. This album is called The Art of Telling Lies. I know this is a more modern thing, and it's produced by Brent Woods, again, of Wildside, so sweet. And the last of the CDs in here is another album from Tuff. What Comes Around Goes Around. Again, we got remastered demos of some of the songs on What Comes Around Goes Around. And we also got some bonus tracks from before then, so swell that I got this too. And finally, in here, look at this, we got 2 shirts. The first is a Tuff shirt, and it has the cover of What Comes Around Goes Around on it, the photo that they took for that album. On the back, it has the track listing on the back, and it also says World Tour 1991. I'm guessing this is what the tour shirt looked like. And the other shirt we got is a shirt with the Metal Sludge logo on it. There's nothing else on there. There's nothing on the back. But cool. So to Stevie Rachelle, thank you very much. Thank you very much for finding such enjoyment in what I do on here. And thank you for this package. And thank you also again for reaching out to CJ Snare and getting me on the VIP list for Firehouse. I really appreciate it. It really makes me feel validated in doing what I do here on YouTube. I will link the Metal Sludge social media and Tuff social media in the description as well, so check that out too. And thank you for watching this video. Take care and have a nice day. I'm Shades, and I will see you next time with an actual video that takes effort to make.